After 4 competitions in Kansas City, Kansas, Bentonville, Arkansas, Anderson, Indiana, and Beloit, Wisconsin, 8 teams are headed to North Little Rock, Arkansas for the final showdown. Which team will be crowned the grand champion of Make48 Season 7? Hello teams, and welcome to Make48 Nationals! My name is Jay Flores. It is a pleasure to be here with you all. I am the founder of Invent the Change, host of It's Not Magic, It's Science. I'm a competitor on American Ninja Warrior, and I'll be your host for this weekend. So super excited to be here with all of you. Thank you. It's time to check out the space here at the AR Innovation Hub with director Aaron Stanger. Hi, Aaron.
Hey, how are you?
Good, yourself.
Good,
Thanks for having us here, for opening your doors to Make48. Can you tell us a little bit about your space?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're standing in about 10,000 square feet called our co-work area. This is, of course, where we're going to host our big events, and we also have our co-working members coming in to use the space. But right behind me is called our creative corner. So we're filled with 3D printers, laser cutters right behind us. We also have an etching press, lots of really cool equipment for our members to come in and make and create. And then past this space, we have our STEAM lab, which is our enclosed classroom. So we do a lot of our field trips, adult classes in there, lots of different meeting spaces, a great educational room. And then you keep wandering through the space, you're gonna walk into our tech shop, which is filled with our largest laser. It's really big, big orange is what we like to call it. We also have some specialized 3D printers in there, and we have soldering stations. We also have our glass fusion area, so it's a great space. And then you're gonna walk down to our metal and carpentry shop, which is filled with traditional carpentry tools, of course, our table saw, bandsaw, router, but we also have brought technology in with a really large CNC machine that's used almost every day. We also have a welding area, and we have some really nice lathes that are in there. If you keep walking, you're gonna head into our pottery studio, and that's connected right next to our screen printing studio. Then you're gonna go up the hall into our art gallery. So every month we feature a different artist in that space. So that might be their first show, or it might be a professional that's looking to have their art up for the month.
Well, thank you so much for everything you do for the local community and for opening your doors to the Make48 family and all of our viewers at home. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
We want to know who's in the room, and so we're going to introduce the teams that have made it from each of the different cities. From the Kansas State School for the Blind, we have Team DN Awesome. Also representing Kansas City, Team Nuts and Bolts. Competing at Purdue Polytechnic Anderson, Team Not Fast, Just Furious. Also from Anderson, Indiana, we have Randy's Rascals. Representing Beloit, Wisconsin, the Purple Knights. Also representing Beloit, Wisconsin, it's Classified. Representing Bentonville, Arkansas, the Golden Eagles. And representing Bentonville, Arkansas as well, we have the Delta School. It is time to announce officially the challenge for this season of Make48, which is innovation within tiny homes for the homeless. Woo!
A few years ago, I had the opportunity to care for chronically homeless individuals that were right outside of my work in North Little Rock. One thing that I realized as I was caring for them each day is I didn't have a place to take them for like long-term care. I was seeing them every day come back and be around the streets of my work. So through all of my research, that landed me at Community First Village in Austin, Texas. And this is a place where Alan Graham created this opportunity for the chronically homeless to come into the property and have a forever home. So fast forward all the way to today. So here we are, standing on the property. It's 150 acres that Pulaski County has purchased in order to create a complete replica of Community First Village. So our plan here on this property is to, of course, build the tiny homes. We'll be able to house up to 400 tiny homes. We'll also have the dignified work opportunities. They'll have access to medical care, mental services, a full-blown neighborhood of love and support. I often like to say, it's like putting a big hug around someone and providing that love and support just like you would for a family member. And I would hope that others see this project and know that they can do it too.
Don't miss out on any of the action. Subscribe to the Make48 YouTube channel and turn on notifications to catch every exciting episode, released just 7 days after they air. Be the first to know when new episodes drop.
The problem: the transition from being chronically homeless, defined as living on the streets for over a year, to joining a loving and supportive neighborhood can be overwhelming for many until they become comfortable and valued. So some of those problems include the opportunity for storage and a safe space to store items. An individual can go from not having many items to rapidly gathering several items. Hoarding can become an issue. The next challenge is learning how to care for a home. Our formerly homeless neighbors are coming from a situation where they have not cleaned or cared from a home. Loneliness. This may be the first time in a very long time that a door can be closed, and being truly safe and alone can bring feelings of guilt and uncertainty. It is crucial to surround new neighbors with love and support as soon as they move in. And finally, learning to care for an animal within a home. So now the prototype. You are to build a physical prototype to help with one or more of the problems listed above. The innovation could help directly in the tiny home or in the community itself.
3, 2, 1. Y'all will be seeing our team calling our names first because we're gonna win.
She wants to make 2 chairs that fold, and then we just put them on the bottom. So then you can take out 2 chairs and then slide the door or the.
Why don't you just buy 2 porch chairs?
It's not impossible.
And one thing we notice they don't have right now with a porch that's largely unused space is a sort of mudroom concept where there's a transition point between the outdoors and in your home and helping both provide some storage and keep the house cleaner with a mudroom concept.
What do you think, Chantal?
I think so. I think I'm just having trouble looking at the viability of this and the uniqueness of it. My name is Shante Nitencio. I'm a student at John Brown University. I'm a double degree in data analytics and economics, and I'm an international student from Nicaragua. I grew up on a super tiny little island. We have around 13,000 people. I was very, very shy as a kid. I was a little girl who would get in trouble for reading in class, or during recess I would be the one to go hide in the library. When I was 15, I got a scholarship to go on the other side of Nicaragua. Me and my cousin, we moved there and we lived together in this house with a friend, and we sort of, did everything with each other and sort of were each other's parents. It was very, very difficult for me because I was far away from my family and I didn't have that support system that I had always counted on. So breaking out of my shell was an experience that I had to go through. I think that made me into the person that I am now. It has made me stronger, more resilient, and willing to put myself out there.
Like, I feel like if we could execute that, it would look really well.
Yeah. I think we can.
All right, we can do it. Easy.
Yeah, I
Easy
think
money.
we can solve that bridge when we get there. I think we need to figure out the concept of a mudroom.
I'm in.
I'm Allison Brown, and I study entrepreneurship and accounting at John Brown University with a minor in Spanish. A challenge I've had to overcome was in high school, I was homeschooled, and it happened that I had to help take care of a sick family member. The freedom of homeschooling just helped me be able to care for her really well, and it really shaped me into the person I am today, being able to find my love for loving others well.
We did a lot of research on homelessness before to kind of get the idea of what might some of the topics be to try to do our prototype over. A lot of people don't go to homeless shelters because they have an animal with them, and we all have dogs in our group, so we were thinking like from that perspective, like that would be awful to try to leave your dog behind to go seek help for yourself. So we were talking about some idea that we can compact everything that you might need for an animal, but in a small space because we have to fit this in a tiny home. So that was kind of our lead idea before coming into it.
What size are these guys?
We got 12 by 18s and 18 by 18.
13 by 20.
Sorry,
Or 13 by 19. Numbers. I'm just gonna match that.
We got 13,
13 by 19.
13 by 19.
We knew almost from the start that we had to talk to Hannah because more than anything, she's the expert in this situation.
It started gradually. Before I knew it, I woke up and I was homeless and living a completely different life than I ever expected myself to be living. It's scary to think about leaving the streets to actually having that kind of stability, because you're going from the demons that you know to the demons that you don't know.
And then she also urged us to make everything multi-tool if possible, and to do it with love.
Help them to realize that they're not designing anything for like some enclosure or habitat for some animal at a zoo behind plexiglass, that they're designing it for their mom or dad or brother, cousin, aunt, uncle, for their best friends, for themselves. It's for the people that they know, because it could happen to anybody.
The social impact of the local community, trying to solve a very, very challenging problem for a population that's kind of been disenfranchised from our day-to-day. So seeing the passion from all of the team members and staff members to bring this together for the local community here has been just astounding.
So Randy's Rascals came to us with a design for a collapsible dog bowl. So they went to the CAD team and had that designed, handed over to me. And we talk about how to print it, and we did 2 iterations for them. And that's sort of the beauty of digital fabrication. We can afford to do that because it's so quick.
We invented this cabinet space that could be used to pertain everything that you have for a dog in one small space for the tiny home.
And the only thing here that really jumps out to me is you've got a cabinet with movable elements out, a toe kick plate being probably the biggest issue I could see. I did find some expired patents and applications, so you could literally build this and not have to ever worry about infringement because nobody else could patent this.
My name is Max Barr. I'm 17 years old. I am in fact related to about half my teammates. I have a twin brother, Sam, and a cousin, Case. And then the other teammate is Case's cousin on his other side of the family. Next year I want to go to Purdue University to study civil engineering. Engineering's always been my passion. To go there to study civil engineering, make the world a better place through engineering is always been something that I've wanted to do. So some adversity that I've faced in recent years, probably the biggest has been my dad's deployment through my junior year of high school. He was deployed for almost 10 months in Kosovo. So just to step up in my family role and kind of be a leader and kind of make me grow up fast. It taught me to be a better student. Not having him there was a struggle, but to just be able to overcome that and push through and have him back safe and sound is a really nice feeling.
So I'm here with Hannah, part of the architecture and interior design team. Hannah, tell me a little bit about what we're standing on right now.
So we are in one of the prototype models that we had built. We were given some parameters on kind of what the building needed to look like. So we had to have a certain amount of windows, and we had to have like kind of wheelchair accessibility, and they all had to have a front porch.
And it's called a tiny home, but this actually feels pretty spacious. So
It
how does
does.
that factor into the design process of how you build and how you design?
So each unit is somewhere around 200 to 250 square feet, and they do look quite large without any of the interior pieces put in.
All right, well, let's take a quick look inside.
Okay, great. So these units are not going to have any plumbing at all, but they wanted to have somewhere where they could have like a microwave so that they can heat up food that way. And another perimeter that we had for this is that there had to be a full-size bed and also an open closet. So we decided with this unit that we were going to put kind of a living space here when you walk in, and then there's going to be a divider wall somewhere around here that goes maybe halfway across. There might be about 6 feet or so from this wall to where this ends. And that way that this kind of area for the bedroom feels more secluded. And they'd have open shelving and closet space here on this corner, and their bed and nightstand over here.
That's awesome. So you really are using the full space, trying
Yes.
to maximize
Absolutely.
while still making it feel homey.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, thank you for your support and making this first model home possible and everything that you're doing for the community. Now we're gonna head out and talk to some of the teams to see what they're thinking about. We're with Eric from It's Classified now. Eric, now that you've seen the first model home, has that changed your design process at all as a team?
So you're looking at it, you're like, yeah, it's a lot more spacious than you first think, but when you start to envision things like a bed in there and some furniture, you can really see how that starts to get taken up. So it gives us a lot of understanding of some of the problems that might come in, like that cluttering feeling. So it really helps to see it in person, and it's really cool.
I hope you guys are able to leverage this to help narrow it down and to come up with something that you're really passionate about. So thank you for your time. We're with Ashley now from Not Fast, Just Furious. So Ashley, I saw you talking with Erin from the Innovation Hub, and she gave you a little bit of insight into some of the questions you had. What did you learn from her?
So we learned about the rules of the house and how people are gonna have to maintain some of the rules to be able to stay there for a while. And he talked about how these rules are made so that they can socialize and like not become isolated into the house.
Well, thank you for sharing what you've learned. I'm with Mara from Team Nuts and Bolts, who is just with the architects. So Mara, how did that conversation with the architects go? What did you learn that's gonna help you with the challenge?
Well, it was very interesting because we got to hear about how it's not just about the house, it's more about the community of people. My team was thinking about doing something in the home, but now I kind of want to look at the broader community because that's the more important aspect of all of this.
That's awesome to hear because yes, the home is a big piece of what they've been missing, but that leads to many other challenges like not having a sense of community. So excited to see what you all come up with and how that evolves after having seen the model home and talked to the architects. So thank you very much, Mara. Wish you guys the best.
As an architect working on this project, there have been a lot of questions around the housing, and it's really cool to have multiple groups help us sort of solve some of the issues that we've run into.
As an architect in general, it's our responsibility to try to provide shelter for everyone, whether they're paying for it or we're providing services in pro bono. Everyone deserves to have some type of shelter.
I am very passionate about homelessness and the issues with it. I, in the past, have had a homeless person live in my backyard, and he taught me a lot about some of the issues around housing.
We had the chance to look at the model home, but I want to learn a little bit more about the process of how we got there. So can you explain to us a little bit about what's going on behind us?
Sure. Well, right now we're just laminating the panels, and then from there we're pushing the foam, the EPS, through the laminator, and we're putting about 30 grams of glue on each side of the foam, and then it gets stacked up onto the OSB, and then it rolls into that press and presses in there for approximately 2 hours.
About how many of these panels are required per model home?
For the model home, it takes about 6.
All right, so we fast forward a couple hours after the glue settles and everything, and now we're cutting. How does this part of the process work?
The large 8x24 panels that we make get put on this CNC machine, and then from there, it's programmed in all the different pieces that we need, and this saw goes in and cuts them. Cuts out all the doors, all the windows, cuts all of the edges.
Awesome. So it looks like we've got all our pieces next, and then that eventually takes us to what builds our model home?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so that's a little bit of the behind the scenes of how this process works, from starting off to getting into our tiny homes. And now we're excited to see what all of our teams will do to add to this process. As day one is coming to a close, Randy's Rascals has taken a commanding lead in the prototyping process. Let's see if the other teams can catch up. How's it going? Not fast, just furious, right?
Hey, how's
how
it
you
going?
guys doing?
We're coming up with some different ideas. We ran into a few roadblocks, trying to hit a lot of the different areas. You know, we've got some concepts, but the marketability and the simplicity is really not there with them.
Can you go into a little bit of what your interaction with Hannah was like in her transitioning journey?
She mentioned that she wanted to be comfortable and feel like home, so we kind of we had thought about how when we get home, what makes our place comfortable and what makes our place feel like home. And for me, that's my desk, my chair, my little space so I can do my work and stuff like that.
But then we ran into the roadblock of they already have built desks.
Make48 has taught me so many things about how you can think of for ideas for specific problems and stuff. I had never done anything like it, so it definitely did change my perspective on building and creating. Some of my passions include working. I love robotics. I love soccer so much, and I love wrestling. In the future, I plan to go to college and study something in the medical field.
Awesome, well, I'll let you guys keep brainstorming. We're at about 5 hours into the competition. So I wish you guys the best, and we'll catch up again soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See if you can send us over.
How's it going, Delta School?
Hey, we're good. How are you?
This is interesting. Can you tell me more?
So we're talking about building a physical community map that hangs in each home on the wall. It's a 3-dimensional map that each house would have a light or an indicator. That's why we have all these different colors.
Okay.
And those indicators would light up based on whatever the occupant, whatever that person wants to indicate. Okay, so it might be that they want to have visitors. It might be that they're looking for someone to help with a particular thing, or they have a job around the house that needs to get done, or maybe they're offering those skills to other people. But it's a quick way to see all of your neighbors at once.
Growing up, I had several different mentors throughout my life, but I'll never forget I had a professor who really encouraged me to pursue my dreams and pursue art and design more directly. And that really influenced my teaching style as well. So I've been mentored by a ton of different people throughout my life. Almost all of them are teachers. So I guess it makes sense that that's why I'm a teacher now.
Have you had a chance to talk to patent attorneys yet?
Yeah.
Okay, how did that conversation go?
It went really well. So he said that there was one patent that could potentially kind of be a barrier, but it looks like if we don't get super geographic with it, is that what he was
Yeah,
saying?
if we don't use the geospatial data, it seems like we're totally fine.
Cool, I love what you guys are up to. We're about 5 hours into the competition, so it seems like you're in a pretty good spot, but keep moving forward.
The team so far with the hardest idea to implement is probably the Delta School team. Interested to see how they come up with the solution to implement their idea, but I think it's a very good idea, and if they're able to do that, it should impress the judges.
Our teams have had another long day of competition. We've seen patent upsets, setbacks, and even a few arguments. Stay tuned to see what happens next. Hey, Dean, awesome. How's it going?
It's going great. We're doing awesome, and things just got a whole lot better.
That's awesome. What just happened that made it a whole lot better?
Right after we got back to our table, Sveta decided that, or Sveta said that a kennel underneath a table that also had cabinets and drawers would be best, and I really agreed with that, and we've just taken off from there.
I remember when I was very young, my mom drummed it in, and so did my dad, that I needed to get good grades and do really well in school. So that motivates me every morning to get out of bed and just do whatever I need to do, because I know that eventually it'll pay off and people will notice if I work hard enough.
We just got done with the patent attorney.
Okay.
The idea all checks out. So
Awesome. That's a great feeling, right?
We're going to be moving forward with our idea. There's still some details to work out, but the team's done a really good job with brainstorming and coming up with new ideas. What inspires me is having the opportunity to step outside of myself. I feel like, nowadays people are so focused on what's going on in their own lives, and having an opportunity to look past yourself and help somebody else tackle a challenge. It's a very rewarding experience for me. Being a team captain, I've gotten a chance to really get to know my team members, understand, some of the challenges that they face with having visual impairments, and really appreciate what it is they go through and help them through this process. And it's been a very rewarding experience for me.
At the 5-hour mark, that's a really good spot to be in. So I wish you guys the best, and we'll connect again soon.
All right, thanks, man.
There are 3 teams that really need to go back to the drawing board, or at least come up with something a little bit more specific. The Purple Knights, the Not Fast, Just Furious team, and the Nuts and Bolts team had ideas, but they're very high level right now, conceptual, and it's very difficult to determine if have anything that's infringing or patentable until they formulate something more fully.
The challenge this year is tiny homes and a community for moving people from being unhoused to housed. And one might ask, well, how's intellectual property a part of that? It may not be as important to build a new brand around one of the challenges solutions. But what is important is to make sure that the solutions that the teams are creating aren't infringing on anyone else. Especially when you're doing something from a nonprofit basis like this is, and to do something that's so important for our society, you just don't want to have any of those immediate obstacles in your future. But the opposite of addiction is connection. It's not non-addiction, it's connection. Yeah. So, okay, that's amazing.
During the first day with the patent attorney, we had 2 ideas. One, it was obviously like the games, and the other one, it was like a water filter. We encountered some problems in both ideas.
What were you going towards, idea-wise?
Am I going towards?
I mean, I think it's a good thing because you already had like planned out what we could use for the rainwater one too. Yeah. The game one, it's not simple, but it's not completely complicated, but it's more towards the complicated side.
I'm more towards this idea. Even though some people may see it as like, oh my God, that's easy, it's a game, but it focuses on a very important aspect on the transition.
My name is Dulce Figueroa. I'm 17 years old. Something I had to overcome was just growing up fast and really having to adapt to me having a different home life compared to other kids at my age, with helping my brother, and my brother is 7 years younger than me. And I still had to balance my life around with basketball right after school, or sometimes even in the morning at like 5 in the morning, and making food for him and making food for me, cleaning and homework, instead of getting home and just, watching TV and eating what my mom had made.
Simple can be good. Doesn't mean it's bad, right?
Yes, I support that idea, but what we're making in this one is more uniqueness and more innovation. And we can create new ways for houses to pump water. Well, I was born originally in Mexico City, and I moved when I was 7 years old. About learning English, it was just a bit hard, just because it was a whole new language.
Moises actually came to the school in 4th grade, and I met him because I was the one who would translate for him. He was put in a DLI classroom, so it's like dual language program, English and Spanish, so since he didn't know any English,
I mean, I just kind of started translating because Spanish is my first language with stuff like math problems or stuff like that. So we just ended up being really close friends.
I play music for Central Christian Church. I'm the worship leader with Hispanic service. My dad is the main pastor. I play bass guitar, electric guitar, any instrument on stage, I play it.
The problem-solving process that I went through with Delta School mostly centered around what material we needed to make their model tiny homes from.
I feel like this one is too modern.
You think so?
What do you guys think?
Even if it's just wood?
What do you think?
Well, I think if it's just wood, it won't look modern.
Like if it's painted or just not painted?
Not
You can
painted,
test
just
this
the wood.
on this board easily.
I was homeschooled at a young age, then public school, and then a private school. And I moved to the Delta School junior year and then stayed until I graduated. My experience learning before the Delta School was the standardized learning, and then I went to the Delta School and found out how they were teaching, and it was like project-based and super hands-on, and it was very student-led, and you got to make a lot of your own decisions. That was a really cool way of learning and made me excited to like get up and go to school every day, and it really changed my life. Like I learned a bunch of stuff. Now I'm taking community college classes as well as get my private pilot's license, and then I'm going to do a lot of traveling.
The DeBruce Foundation partners with lots of different entities, organizations, both within K-12, post-secondary, businesses, community organizations, in lots and lots of different ways. And what we try to do is meet those individuals and those organizations wherever they are.
What's up?
No.
Your file is not usable on the laser.
Oh, okay. What do you need? A PX file?
I just need to know what the dimensions are, and I'm just going to remake it, and that'll make it easier.
We can send you an SVG if that.
This is easier.
Okay.
This is faster.
Gotcha.
Because it still has to be, like, you have to export it.
There's also a 1/4-inch hole centered in each one.
Oh, wait, 1/4 inch? I can remember that.
All right.
The issue that we ran into is that we have a limited amount of time. And so we needed to problem solve that we need something that's translucent, that we can uplight, that can also be made quickly. So we talked briefly about maybe making custom resin molds, but epoxy takes time to cure. It takes about 6 hours, plus or minus, depending on the item, and then it takes 24 hours to fully cure where you're not gonna get fingerprints on it. So that went out the window. Delta School was a little worried when we couldn't quite figure out what material we were going to use and if we were gonna have enough time to get all 60 models.
Andrew Padal was on the original team, and then he was not able to come, and Cameron Buckley is my husband, and we work together at the Delta School. And so he invited me to be able to come and be a part of this. I had a lot of non-traditional learning whenever I was growing up, and so I'm a big supporter of kind of getting out of the cookie cutter classroom and being able to really use your hands and your brain to create something amazing. One of the things that I really look for as a maker's teacher with students is I'm trying to give the kids autonomy and confidence with tools. Being scared of a chop saw because of how loud it is not just a tool experience, it's also learning how to be brave in moments that are scary and how to adapt to situations that you may not know you need the skills to adapt to.
So agility is for both K-12 students, post-secondary students, and any other young professionals are extremely important because it gives them a sense of self-awareness of what they are skilled at and then also what they enjoy doing. They can use those to identify program opportunities out in training and educational opportunities, as well as workforce opportunities in career fields.
Tomorrow, teams are heading on their hardware run. Let's see who's far enough on their prototype to know what to get and who's gonna be looking down the aisles for some new ideas.
For the ideation phase, we decided to focus on just tackling 1 or 2 problems, and we ended up getting down to cleanliness and adapting to the habit of taking care of a house again. So what do you think we're settling on here?
An idea with a lot of cabinets where it's basically a library where you can go and check out like a broom or a vacuum, and you use an app on your phone to do that.
So where would these probably go?
Like in the community space that have like bathrooms and a kitchen that serve like 20 or 30 houses. I'm Kelby from It's Classified. So I do First Tech Challenge, and it's a combination of like building your own robot and solving a game they give you. When I started First LEGO League, I just turned 9. It was a little nerve-wracking. Definitely took some getting used to. So now this is my 4th national competition. It's really fun. We have a really fun team dynamic, and I'm just excited to have made it to nationals. We're going to have 2 big lockers for like vacuums and brooms, so that'll be that. And then that little thing is just the kiosk, so it might have like what's in each one, and then the QR code for the app, just that kind of stuff.
I'm a programmer and an architect for software for a local company. Programming kind of happened accidentally. Initially, I went into electrical engineering, and my thought was I really wanted to do a lot of heavy math stuff in college. And I took a couple of the really hard math classes. I enjoyed the first one. I was miserable for the second one, but during that experience of going through those maths, they make you do programming classes in physics and chemistry and kind of touch all these other aspects of life. And that kind of got me into the space of making things, specifically digitally. So there's nothing physical there, but things that I could put out into the world that I felt like, hey, that's me, that's what I did, and I was proud of it. So our next step is to find out what materials we need to get from Ace Hardware before we're at Ace Hardware tomorrow. Let's take an inventory of that. So we need
20 hinges, 10 handles, stuff to make little things off it, and a half-scale prototype.
some mock materials for small supplies.
Day 1 is coming to a close. Some teams are staying up late to work a little extra, others are calling it a night. Let's see which strategy is going to work out best. It's day 2. Last night, our teams finally started narrowing on their ideas, and now it's time for their hardware run. So we're here at Sanders Ace Hardware, where teams will be able to get the materials that they need for their prototypes. How's it going, guys? So yesterday we talked, you weren't 100% sure what idea you were going after. Are we a little more decided now? Are you kind of sure of what kind of materials you need?
Yes, we are more decided now. We are trying to figure out what materials we want to use. We are leaning towards one way, but then again, we got to think cost effective.
And what idea did you guys land on?
It's like this cabinet. It holds your pet. It has hidden storage, and you can take it out to your porch and create community.
Okay, awesome.
Would this work better for the vacuum? Or like one of these?
What are we getting? Is this just some samples? Is this partially for designing the prototype as well?
So most of this stuff is to make some of the model supplies that would be in the cabinets.
Okay.
So there's plans for small scale vacuum and brooms, and I guess they found the world's smallest plunger that I didn't know existed.
So you have the world's smallest plunger and a really big sponge. I love it.
I like your idea, sir. I'm not arguing with your idea.
I didn't get a budget to buy stuff, so I just come to Ace Hardware to play. It's day 2, and the teams got up bright and early to do their hardware run. Now they're back in the makerspace, and we're gonna start to see some prototypes coming together. So let's check out what they're up to.
Day 2 has been much busier in the wood shop, in the metal shop, and on the lasers, and on the CNC with ShopBot. We have been slammed the entire day.
So Golden Eagles, we were working on them and their life-size project. They walked in like as soon as they got back from the hardware store and be like, all right, let's rock and roll. And I'm like, holy crap, I hadn't finished my coffee yet, but okay. Golden Eagles even drew out their cut sheet and give a cut sheet with all the different cuts, pieces, and how they wanted them cut out on the saw.
And so this is the bench right here. I didn't have enough 1/2-inch ply to go across, so we may need to put 1 or 2 ribs in between. I like to be able to walk up to it, pull it down with your foot, pull your shoes off, and then kick it back up and walk inside. Okay.
I recently graduated from John Brown University in 2021. There I studied marketing and photography. I am now a creative director at a marketing agency, and I love to tell stories. A couple of years ago, my wife and I saw the problem in our area that there were no studios for photographers and other videographers to go and create content, especially during the winter time. So we thought, hey, there's this studio out in Portland that's doing this. Maybe we should open our own studio in the area. And after we'd already signed a lease, we got in there. We were promised there would be beautiful wooden floors under the carpet. We could simply pull it up. And come to find out, there was a lot of glue and a lot of issues with the space itself that we had to fix before the month later when we had already started to get these bookings. It was a very stressful process, but it was really cool to see all of our friends in the creative community come alongside of us to do what it took to get that space to where it needed to be.
So here on day 2 for Not Fast, Just Furious, they went back to D-Day. They went back to T0. So they came in this morning, they scrapped their day 1 idea, and they started from the top.
We wanted to build a table, but we had 2 options. We either start from scratch with plywood, that is costly, or we get a bookshelf already made and elevate it. 2 of our team members wanted to do one way, 2 of our team members wanted to do it another way. Why didn't you go over these changes with us on the phone?
Because you probably weren't gonna listen through the phone, and it was gonna be hard to explain.
You kept on hanging up.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna listen. This is a project for like $10,000. You don't think I was gonna listen.
You kept on hanging up.
You kept hanging up, and you weren't listening to what we were telling you about the tool techs helping us.
I was listening to the tool tech parts, but it did
No,
not.
you didn't. You literally told me to hand you the tool tech so you could change their mind.
What do you mean change their mind? But you wanted No. Let's go back. My name is Allison. I am 16 years old. Some of my passions are dance. I loved school. Make48 has opened doors I didn't think was possible. I have gone through the design process and what an engineer would be. My uncle is an engineer, and I always look up to that. I think it's an amazing job. Like, I don't believe in myself enough to be an engineer, but Make48 has taught me that I can.
I'm a little bit worried about Not Fast, Just Furious right now. Their design isn't coming together as it needs to be. It seems like there are a few details that are missing for some of the CAD design, and I'm really nervous that we're going to be able to cut everything out in time for them to finish in the day.
I will paint it gray and I will paint it white, but when it comes to the table, we can do a little swatch.
Yeah. No, we'll think about it when it comes to the table. Yes?
Yes.
Pinky promise. Like for real, for real.
We butted heads, but now we see eye to eye and we went with the plywood option. It is beautiful and I would not have wanted it any other way.
So our time management was very important. We learned from last time. We kind of lost a little bit of time early and then realized that we might want to get some of that back on hindsight. So this time we stayed focused early and got the fabrication of the pieces done on the very first day. Tyler, who was working the laser cutter, was very helpful, and huge shout out to Tyler. We love Tyler.
Hey Tyler, what's up?
Hey,
How's it
Jay,
going,
how you
man?
doing?
Good to see you. So we're outside of this epilogue laser. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing here.
My background is fabrication and manufacturing, so we're here with the Epilogue laser now, and we're going to do a little bit of engraving on some 1/4-inch ply.
Awesome. I'd love to see it. Show me.
Let's check it out. So I'm here in the job dashboard, which is the Epilogue software, and we can see here I have my camera feed from the laser, but this cat file is like really big.
Okay.
Big cat, it's like a 20-inch cat. So I'm gonna scale it down. A couple little settings I like to do, and now we're set. So I can actually send this file to the machine, and we're ready to go. As you can see here now, we got the cat file. The cat file came through, and what I wanna do is I wanna move that laser to where I wanna cut. So I'm actually gonna jog it, kind of slowly bring it over here. I'm gonna put it right, I think that looks good, right? right about there. And then I'm gonna focus the laser and make sure that the gap between the bottom of the nozzle is exactly what the recommended settings are to the wood. So I'll hit the autofocus here, it'll come down, do a little touch off, and it'll go to a standard Z height. And now we're ready to cut.
All right, let's make that cat.
Pull that cat up, and if you wanna do the honors of hitting the fire button.
Of course I wanna press the button. Let's go.
There we go, and we're running.
So these are all empty spaces where you can set items.
Yeah, like a cubby, like a vertical cubby. Okay.
The idea is that you can take this shelf and make it go up so that it can be against the ceiling so that it doesn't take up any floor space.
Oh, you want to shift the whole shelf off the ground?
But it would be in such a way that these would stay upright, so if you had like items that you didn't want to fall over, then it wouldn't just be like, it wouldn't be like that.
So the cubes turn with the shelf. Ooh, that's gonna be tough.
Well, I'm blind, so when people hear that, they typically think, oh, like she can't see at all, but that's actually not true for a lot of people, and it's not true for me. I can't see anything out of my right eye, and in my left eye I have about 2200 vision. One of my biggest passions, I think, is working with and helping children with cancer, because I actually had cancer as a child. I was diagnosed at 3.5 months old. They're giving these children harsh treatments, even though the cancer is going away. There's also a ton of different lifelong side effects that these children are getting. So I actually have a nonprofit. It's called the Gold Coin Foundation, and we raise money and awareness for those kids and their research.
So Randy's Rascals was then able to, on the second day, do a lot of finish work, get the project painted and stained, and start working on the sales sheet, things like that.
What's y'all's thingy?
So it's kind of just like more or less like a one-stop shop for everything you can need for your dog. So we would start with this slide-out bed here.
Yeah.
And then we have here they need food and water. So I don't know. I think both those pieces are still outside drying. But in this slot here, it would be a slot that would slide out, and you can put your food bowl and water bowl here. I'm really passionate about sports. I play 3 sports at my high school, and I'm also very passionate about technology and how in the future I can use that as kind of like a career and use it to kind of change the world. I'm hoping to go to Purdue University. That's kind of my dream school, and I'm planning on studying computer science and information technology.
So Dee and Awesome come to me with an idea of a roll-around, a usable box that could be used for multiple things. Like they were just throwing anything and everything that most people could think of that you'd put in a box or a cabinet. But then Dee and Awesome had an idea of making it multi-use, as far as it would be part of a dog kennel, and then it would be divided into a normal cabinet.
At dinner, we were still thinking. We were thinking what we can do to add more things to check as many of those problems off as we possibly could. And so then we thought, hey, what if we do like a pull-out calendar? So we had to figure out how we could integrate a calendar for someone who was visually impaired or blind. So we decided to use like a cork board with pens, push pens, and Braille paper.
So you want this cut in half, and then you want all these drilled out?
Yeah.
Okay.
When making the frame for Dee and Awesome, I first cut down the steel to length and then used the miter saw to miter the angles and then welded it all up.
Hey Brandy, how's it going?
Oh, hey Jay, how are you?
I'm good. I see you working on some cool stuff. Can you tell everybody a little bit about what you do?
Sure, I am a welder from Breaux Bridge, Louisiana. I've been welding for 23 years.
That's incredible. So we want to do some tips and tricks for welders in the terms of safety and preparation. So I know we got these cool helmets, but what are some of the other things that you do to get ready?
Yeah, you want to make sure you got a good helmet. An auto darkening, I highly recommend. This is the Lincoln Electric Viking helmet series. Make sure you have a good pair of gloves, welding gloves, leather. You want to either have a jacket or sleeves for sure.
All right, well, there's a couple tips and tricks with Brandy about getting ready for safety with welding. I love it.
So Delta School came to us with kind of a sizable order. They needed 60 parcels for their map. We decided to prototype just one so that we could find the best orientation. So we made a grid of 30 and printed actually 90. We used 3 printers, 30 on each. So we wanted to make sure they had enough to experiment, ruin, try different ideas so they could accomplish their final prototype.
We finished our CAD design for the wood cuts, and so we went ahead and got those pieces of wood cut out. Then we went with Robert and said, hey, what is the best order of operations to put this together? And the first thing he asked us was, did you already cut the wood? And both Nathan and I looked at each other with a little bit of panic and said yes. And he said, it's okay, we'll figure it out. Because the way that we had designed it in CAD looks really good and looks how it would work if maybe you were welding steel together or you were building it with different tools or a wider array of tools. But with the tools available to put it together, you wouldn't be able to fit some of the drills and some of the materials into the finished product to really do the touch-ups. And so we were limited on how we could build it.
Honestly, I'd probably do the back panel first.
Just get
and
the
build
integrity?
on top of it, yeah, because it's going to give you the most stability for it.
Is that going to make it hard? I guess because we're not going to be doing anything on the inside. My only concern is in here, inside of the cubes, you only have like a half of a foot.
Right. So I mean, you could come in this way. You know, if you'll mark you a line where you want to nail, and you could come in through this big side.
I'm Nathan on It's Classified. I mostly enjoy playing video games and programming. That's horribly awkward, oh my God. Through most of middle and high school, I did FIRST Robotics programs. So I did various FIRST Robotics programs for about 7 years. That ended up being sort of the most formative period for me. I was spending a lot of time working with people, which was sort of unique coming from homeschooled background. And I was working on a lot of professional development. So that's when I picked up CAD. That's when I picked up most of my programming skills that I've been transferring over to new languages and systems.
Now your shelf piece will sit right in there just right.
And then these will go on to this.
Well, before we do that,
Eventually.
let's put the top and bottom pieces, so we'll end up with sort of a bunch of boxes without a front and back.
Sure.
And then we'll take those and put it on here. That way, if they're out of square, we'll line them up with these edges and make it spot on square.
Makes sense.
Golden Eagles come and we started assembling their pieces as we're having 3 separate pieces. Golden Eagles made almost like a closet style pantry as one piece, and then Golden Eagles took and made a separate piece for boot and shoe storage, and then they have a separate piece that is a bench that you would sit on, and they all connect together and form a solid piece.
Fastenal?
Yeah, these are Fastenal screws.
What makes them different than your normal screws?
That's the Fastenal, though.
Hey Grant, how's it going?
Hey, good, how you doing?
See, you're here with Fastenal.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and maybe a tip and trick for our teammates?
Sure, so I've been with Fastenal for 5 years, doing sales, doing industrial supplies. So we do fasteners, tools, safety equipment. When they're trying to pick the right stuff, it's look at the material. So you have your wood screws for wood, and then for stuff that has to be really clamped together, use some nuts, bolts, and washers.
Awesome. Thank you for supporting the teams. And that was your tip and trick with Fastenal.
So we basically drill through the acrylic, and we get like a thin piece of wood to put on the other side, be like a sandwich. Purple Knights come up with an idea to do table games. They brought a blank sheet of plywood to me, and Purple Knights had this idea of cutting out circles and wanted to know how they could get that completed quickly.
So I'm a designer in the mechanical engineering side of engineering.
I've been in the industry for about 20 years doing that. I'm going back to school to be a full mechanical engineer to get my 4-year degree. To me, it's really special to have this personal time with Brooklyn just as a bonding time and getting closer to her. Dulce and Moises I've known since my daughter Brooklyn was in 4th grade. To see these 3 that I've seen grow up, I'm proud of them for becoming the people who they are and to see what type of person they're going to become as an adult.
I just finished cutting out all the pieces for Not Fast, Just Furious's cabinet design. Everything turned out pretty well. There's a little bit of manual hand finishing that we have to do. I have to use a jigsaw to trim some things up and cut some holes that weren't put in the CAD originally. Unfortunately, there are a lot of splinters. So there's gonna be a little bit of wood filler, a little bit of glue work that we have to do, but I think they will be able to pull it through just fine.
3, 2, 1. Hey, someone's going too fast. Someone's going too fast. There you go, like a... Ooh, I like that.
So Nuts and Bolts is having a hard time nailing down the mechanism that's gonna make their 3 boxes stay parallel with themselves so nothing will spill out whenever they move it from one position to another position.
Me and Adam and Zeke, we all tried to like brainstorm how we could make this happen and work for them.
The problem with that is this. Like, these 2 are mounted, not flush. Well, like the action's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. My journey into cybersecurity started in December of 2020. On a whim, I took a cybersecurity boot camp through the University of Kansas. I ended up falling absolutely in love with the problem sets that cybersecurity has to offer. I'm really passionate about all the things in life that I get to be curious about. This is part of why cybersecurity has been such a great journey for me, because on your way to becoming a better hacker, you get to learn how things work. You get to break things apart, and you get to put them back together in a more secure fashion. And I couldn't imagine a better problem set to be working on. What we can do is we can drill a second hole on this side where the action is actually gonna be easier, right? Just because like this is like,
You could. Why don't we hook it up to a wall first and see what it's like? I started in college in software engineering and really didn't like trying to program software. So I got into network security and started building enterprise cellular communications networks. And now I'm in cybersecurity in customer success. I think I would have ended up in like an IT or cybersecurity field, but I wouldn't have had the confidence to apply for some of the positions that I've gotten if it wasn't for a mentor really pushing me and telling me to step outside of my comfort zone and take a job that makes me nervous. Always take a job that makes me nervous is what he told me. Okay, now we should probably just safety tighten that so we don't just die. Yeah, go grab.
The Delta School has a really complicated design right now, so we want to make sure their design is really well thought out and we have everything programmed exactly in the order that it needs to be. Are we keeping the end of this roundabout, or do we want to curve it off?
We can curve it off. To be honest with you, we don't need the pockets and stuff for these houses because we are going to just come straight across and focus on the houses on this inside. So when I was younger, I spent years struggling to read. I was fine at when it came to the like STEM, math, science, that sort of thing. But when it came to like the language arts and especially writing, that's when I discovered I have dyslexia. I was being picked on and decided, I talked with my parents and decided to move into homeschooling. Later on, we found this school that I'm going to now. It's the Delta School in Wilson, Arkansas, and it's a very small school, which allowed for them to focus on the individual students. This helped me a lot when it came to just learning in general. I was able to realize that I do love to learn, and it's okay that I don't read as fast or that I sometimes spell things wrong, and they helped me correct the bigger problems that I was having. There are going to be lights that the residents can like switch on. That'll be LEDs, different colors. that shows like, hey, I'm open to have visitors. I'm
That
home.
that is
It
such a
tells them
cool
when the
idea.
kitchen and stuff
That
is
is such a cool idea.
Thank you.
Hey Alex, how's it going?
Hey Jake.
See, you're here with the shop box. Do you have any tips or tricks that we can showcase?
So what we've got here today is a buddy model. It's a 48-inch wide gantry with 1 horsepower spindle. And so what we're going to build today is just a little alignment fence. And we're going to do that with some plywood and some hardware that I got here in my pocket. So we've just got a couple of squares with a few holes in here in V-carve. If you want to come check this out over here, we can just use a normal Phillips head screwdriver or put a driver on the drill itself and hold the fence together. So ultimately, once we cut these pieces out, they'll be tall enough to stand up against here on the MDF, and this nut will get hammered down into the spoil board, and we can just drive it up there, and now we have a right angle that will be perfect to line our material up to.
That's awesome.
Cool. So let's get started.
Let's see it.
Day 2, I worked with Zoe and Cassie with textiles to upholster some things.
Golden Eagles needed us to make this tufted bench. We don't have upholstery materials on hand, so we came up with this kind of creative solution where we would use the wood buttons that we've covered in fabric and then use metal to poke through the bottom. And so it gives this faux effect that makes it look like it's tufted, even though it's not technically correctly done.
Awesome! That's pretty sick. I bought extra buttons for a reason.
I am working on doing some script writing for our final presentation. All of my team has kind of gone off to work on different parts of the project, so we can kind of divide and conquer.
Right here or something. Okay. Okay, let me trim it.
My name is Colby Richardson, and I graduated from John Brown University in 2022. I have a lot of different hobbies and passions. I love riding my bike. I love playing music. I've got a band that I play with. I'm also passionate about business, and someday I want to start my own business. At the beginning of the competition, it's hard to know what your specific skills are going to contribute to the team. And as you go and get to know your team members better, it's sort of revealed then what your own skill sets can contribute to the group at large. Like script writing was something that came out that is like, oh, it's a skill that I have that I kind of forgot about, that it felt good to find something that I could contribute in the team setting.
The Delta School is having a little bit of trouble right now with their stain. It looks very blotchy, but we'll see what they're able to do with it.
We ended up going with a stain and paint combo. Paint for the roads and stain for the aesthetic.
So, Sveta, you're working on the sales sheet right now?
Yeah, Richie gave it back to me, and so now I gotta work on the formatting.
My name is Svetlana Ellers, and I am 20 years old. I came from an orphanage. I was in there for 9 years. It wasn't a fun environment. I essentially just sat in a chair doing nothing, so no progress was happening. Also, being blind, I wasn't seeing things around me, and so the maturity took longer to grasp. So I moved from Armenia, and so then when I came to the US at 9, there was a lot that I had to figure out how to learn. Something that inspires me mainly is being able to make a difference in someone's life. So I know I've been through challenging times, but not every person has gone through that. And so sometimes people need to hear something that's difficult so that they can start to make a difference in their own life.
Me and Brandy finished the metal frame for Dean Awesome, and we took it back to them, and they had got their wooden pieces cut out, and so they were having them painted, and then we were ready for basically assembly.
There you go, you got it, you got it.
So like, if this comes up through this.
Yeah, and that sits.
Oh, sick, okay.
Delta School has asked me to help assemble the PCBs and the different wiring assemblies for the RGB LEDs. So they have an Arduino that's controlling the different colors of these different things, which allows them to control that with a switch or some kind of external control. So I've been helping them assemble all of the wires so that they can put them in the different spots on this map that they're building.
For your commercial, focus more on the product than, like somebody being sad or the dog or making a mess. Having these other kind of stories or these other kind of elements would be great, but don't let that hold you up.
Yeah.
I'm an art teacher, and one of my first lectures is that art is a basic human need. So once food, clothing, and shelter are met, the very next thing that we do is we begin to make things special. So I really am fascinated with this project because that's where we're at in the neighbor's journey, right? We have food, clothing, and shelter. So now what do? What choices do those neighbors make? What happens next?
University of Arkansas-Pulaski Technical College is considered a comprehensive two-year institution. We cover every type of program you can imagine, from aerospace technician to diesel technician, all the way over to cybersecurity, computer programming, networking, to allied health, nursing, dental assisting. I think the thing that the students would tell you that makes it unique is that they get a significant amount of support. What you're going to get is the emotional and social support that comes with the deep-rooted psychological change that happens when one learns.
Hi, I'm Kevin Macco from Macco Design. We're now wrapping up day 2 of the Make48 competition. We're gonna see how the teams are doing. Let's check in with them to see what's happening, how those prototypes are coming along. The dark green team, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. How's it going with the prototype build?
Well, our prototype is completely finished. It doesn't match our idea exactly, but we're going to explain it a little more in the pitch, and we still need to record our video.
What are some of your favorite parts of this invention that you've created?
Well, I really like the name. It's called the shifting shelf.
Nice.
It is a shelf that shifts, so you can get all your clutter out of the way.
Very nice.
So I liked how the thing shifts for people easily who are handicapped to reach and pick up stuff easily.
I like seeing this come to life, the idea, because I never really got a little bit confused at first when we were coming up with it, but then once it started coming into like visual, I can get an idea of actually how it's supposed to work.
Team Purple, how you guys feeling?
A little bit stressed.
A little bit stressed? Yeah.
Right on the edge because of time limits.
Let's talk a bit about the build. I want to see what you guys are working on.
Our product is solving the problem of loneliness. So how it would work would be like when someone were to walk by, you would kind of like lift up the glass and move your piece and then put the glass back down so then it's more protected from any weathers that would come by or just like a big gust of wind or something that could affect it.
Nice.
My name is Brooklyn Watkins and I'm part of the Purple Knights team. I've had to overcome anxiety through using therapy and medication and just help from my friends and family, because as I was younger, I would just be over worried about a lot of things. I was 10 when my anxiety started. That made me very emotional. So the first time I did Make48, my anxiety was a lot higher because it was the first time I've done something like this. Now that this is the second time I've done it, I can kind of expect what's going to happen, manage time a little easier, and just be able to have fun with it more.
So the Randy's Rascals here on day 2, we were doing the final details, and so they have some moving components. We wanted to make sure those moving components were sound, they fit well, and then we did the final touches. So we helped them paint it, we set some hinges, and we really got their prototype to the final state. And they're actually starting to shoot their video as we speak.
That looks really good.
Oh, rocked it. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Team group.
My name is Case Clevenger, and I'm with the Randy's Rascals. I show livestock year-round, so I show pigs and cattle with 4-H, and then also go to circuit shows. In school, I am part of the Students in Action program, which goes around and volunteers in the community. We've done like making blankets for cancer patients, and we've done a coat drive, stuff like that. I also lead the student section, so like the cheer block, like during basketball games or football games, and I really enjoy seeing the crowd rallied up.
My name is Caden Key. I'm 17 years old, and I'm on the team Randy's Rascals. Back in COVID, my grandpa passed away, and he's my inspiration for wanting to pursue a field where I can help create medical technology to prevent people from passing away. I want to be a biomedical engineer. I want to use medical devices to help people.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Boom. Good job.
Our second night is coming to a close, and teams seem pretty confident, but with a lot left to do and the clock ticking, let's see how it all unfolds.
Don't miss out on any of the action. Subscribe to the Make48 YouTube channel and turn on notifications to catch every exciting episode, released just 7 days after they air. Be the first to know when new episodes drop.
So here on day 3, I think we're gonna have the last rush, the last push. And we'll see some video editing, we'll see some picture taking, we'll see some running around with their heads on fire just because someone may have forgot something. We might drop a prototype and have a last minute super glue session.
I think we're just trying to get some still shots.
Oh, that's mine.
We were focusing on developing our video and our script. And the funny thing is I have to be able to print the scripts out in Braille to be able to read them. Our embosser we had didn't have the right type of paper. And so we had to adapt and figure out, oh, what are we gonna do to overcome this?
I think we bit off a little bit more than maybe we should have.
The pacing,
that looks good.
The pacing feels pretty good. I might slow it down if we need to. Yeah, like add some slow motion.
We're really pumped.
Yeah, I'm a little anxious because I'm realizing that like I'm good with talking in front of people whenever it's like easy, like they just come up, but then standing up in front of people and talking with like a planned script is like not my strength. So
we're talking about maybe we can. Yeah, we got to figure out our pitch.
This question and answer will be after our initial presentation. Do we want to break up sections of where we want to be responsible, or do you just want to down the line delegate as we go?
I'm weather. I'll do weather.
You'll do weather?
That's what I did the last competition.
What does that mean? There's no weather for this.
Exactly.
One of the special things about being a tool tech is we get to express our skills, our creativity through building the trophy.
The theme for the trophy, we actually made a mini house that will go on top of the slab of wood.
The wood for the base came from a sawmill that donated some great cherry wood to use for this. So Adam and a couple of the other woodworking people have worked really hard at making a nice live edge slab of that.
And our part in this one was creating scale furniture.
Almost like a little dream house, if you want to think of it that way.
And there's an acrylic top on the house so you can see down into it.
I've been involved in adding lights and different fun things to the trophy. And Caitlin did a great job creating a stained glass airplane that will fly over the trophy itself.
All right, teams, we're at the 1 hour mark. 1 hour left in Make48.
We need the manufacturing cost.
No.
Yes, we need the manufacturing cost.
Are you just writing intro here and that's going to be like the scripted component?
We should probably print this.
competition just ended, so I'm kind of nervous and excited to do our presentation.
So actually the presentation process is where we had like the most arguments. We're kind of a bunch of boys that like to mess around and have fun, so just trying to flip that and try to stay focused and capture that mood was something that was more difficult for us. So
I'm feeling like a little bit nervous, but I love what we've made, so I'm excited to be able to share it with the judges.
What's been most surprising this time around is kind of all of the arguing, if I'm being honest. The arguing has been surprising, but I think it's needed for the design process to have everyone's voices heard.
Also, I feel a little bit sad because this is our last time doing this competition.
Welcome to the closing and judging ceremonies of Make48 Season 7. It's been an incredible 48 hours, but even though the clock has stopped, the incredible impact that your designs are going to have on this community and potentially beyond are something to be very proud of. So next, I'd like to introduce our judges that you'll be giving your pitches to. First, we have Kevin Macko from Macko Design and Invent.
In my background, I've worked with over 1,500 hardware startups, getting their ideas from concept all the way through to manufacturing. So today, I'm looking for that inner genius of those groups which have created great products which will change the world.
Next, we have Claire Graham from Malvern Hot Spring Co-Library.
I actually had a lived experience of homelessness myself in my youth. I'm an immigrant, moved here to America at the age of 8. When I was 12, my mom got cancer, and that led us to living in vehicles, sleeping on people's couches. So I have a lived experience, but my career, I've worked for a decade with a nonprofit assisting those struggling with homelessness. I'm very passionate about it, not only because of what I went through in my youth, but because I see the power of what can be done when people come together to solve an issue such as homelessness.
And finally, Dr. Rick Barker from the University of Arkansas Pulaski Technical College.
I have been in this background or this sector for the last 40 years, so I'm very fluent with the area and have a very good understanding.
Now it's time to have fun, share your ideas with the community, hopefully inspire something that is going to make a lasting impact here and beyond. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first team from Kansas City, Kansas, Team DNA Awesome.
Press Michelle once said, 7 out of 10 Americans are one paycheck away from homelessness. You see the table just like as it is. So this means that a group of people can sit, have conversations, eat, or it could also be a single table. Now keep in mind, because you might be wondering, is this the full thing? No, it is not. It will be bigger. And then as you're wondering, you're like, why is there a whiteboard? And why is there a corkboard? It is our calendar / reminder. Oh, I need to buy something from the grocery store. Well, you can write it down. On the bottom, on the right, you see a door. Well, that is where a homeless individual's pet might reside in. If you do not have a pet, then you can use it for more storage. Well, you might wonder, why is there a handle? Well, because on the bottom, there are wheels so that you can move a table wherever you want to move it. We intend to cover this calendar up because I don't think you want to see your calendar while you're eating, because eating is a time to relax, and if you're seeing all the things you have to do, you might get a little bit worried. I want this product to transform lives, one piece at a time.
Next up, we have from Anderson, Indiana, Randy's Rascals.
Would you be willing to sacrifice your only companion to seek help? Now you don't have to. With our half-scale prototype of a bed for bones, you will have everything that you need to care for your pet in a compact area. The first thing we thought of that a pet would need is a nice warm place to sleep. With our design, we have a pull-out drawer that would slide across your floor and even lock into place so that your pet does not move around. The second idea we had was that your pet needs food and water. So we designed this slide out side drawer from the side of our prototype.
On the side of the cabinet, there is a food storage compartment where you can slide a hard plastic container where you can store your dog food in there.
Lastly, if you have a dog like I do, you know that they have a lot of accessories. So we wanted to have a spacious storage compartment where you could store anything that you might need for your dog, such as bags of food, treats, toys, a leash, a brush, or whatever else your dog might need.
The storage on the inside space is perfect for a litter box for cats as well.
With our space-saving design, leaving behind your pet no longer has to be an option.
Just curious, for those who don't have a pet, is there some other use that you considered for it?
It could be used such as a trash can. You could store pots and pans in the pull-out cabinet, or cookie sheets, as we would like to say. And then you still have a spacious inside of the cabinet where you could put whatever you would like.
Up next, qualifying from Beloit, Wisconsin, we have the Purple Knights.
The product name is Community Box Games. This is a wooden box with a see-through cover. The Community Box Games includes a magnetic backdrop with the game and the pieces, which also have magnets to a stick. The magnets on the game board allow it to be interchangeable. This means you can change the game without having to remove the whole box.
There are many games that can be used, some being tic-tac-toe, Connect 4, puzzles, and Scrabble, and even scavenger hunt. This allows anyone to move a piece whenever they feel like it without them feeling the pressure of others. Not only do you have to hand them, you can also have them as a table game as you make connections.
Up next, from Bentonville, Arkansas, we have the Delta School.
So we've designed the social terrain map, and this map is in every single unit within the village, as well as community centers. This is the community center sized model. The one within homes are 1/4 this size. And all these maps are connected together. They all show the same information, the same data, and it's updated live. They're all networked. As you can see, the white lights have turned on some of these homes. And what this indicates, these are people who have noted that they just want to have their home alone time. So each one of these little houses, these little cubes represent a house. But let's say Haskell, who's in this village, has just decided, he really wants to be social today. So he comes over to his map in his house, hits the green button, and his house changes to green, as well as showing the other green houses in his neighborhood. This is an indicator that they want to socialize, that you'd invite to have a friend over, that you'd love to, maybe go do an activity together.
We did a business by business model where the product we are selling would be a custom map for a community, a neighborhood, or an organization.
One of the problems that we really wanted to tackle with this design was the feeling that you're still a part of a community even whenever you've gone into your own home. So whenever you're home, you can look up and this really cozy art is hanging on your wall, and you're able to see people want help with things, people want to socialize, people are eating meals, laundry is ready, just some basic information that kind of makes you feel like you're a part of a community.
You mentioned that this was useful for expressing needs in real time, and you mentioned networking. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
And I might have just said networking, but what I mean is basically that they're all connected together, right? That there's some sort of connectivity, like intranet within them. It's also used to build those connections. So to indicate, hey, there's a community dinner happening. Let's all go there.
Up next, qualifying from Kansas City, Kansas, we have Team Nuts and Bolts.
And my team is the Nuts and Bolts, and our project is the shifting shelf.
As you can see, it looks like an ordinary shelf, but it is not, because it can be stored on the ceiling. So this is obviously a small scale model. This would be, when it flips up, it would be right against the ceiling, so you wouldn't have to worry about it. Our original plan was actually to have them facing up so that they could be accessible when it's vertical, but when it's up on the ceiling, everything would be protected and there wouldn't be any openings.
as far as safety, because it is, again, up above our heads, how have you addressed that with your product?
In the final version of the product, everything is going to be held together by a mechanism that keeps the shelves level at the time that they are shifting. So to some extent, pinch hazard with even our final design does certainly exist, and that is something that we could maybe further iron out while we're creating that mechanism.
And up next, qualifying from Anderson, Indiana, we have Not Fast, Just Furious.
So on our table able, we have several hidden storages. In the back, we have another hidden storage. We had this in mind for a dog, but it's also functional for something else. You simply take the bed off and you lift it up, and there's hidden storage right there. We also wanted something, flexible to what you need. So we have this shelf. If you have like a dog or a cat, you would put bowls here, but say I didn't have any animals, you could make it to different heights of what you need. We also have a drawer for all of the things, all the clutter that's on the floor. It's just so bad. So we have a table. You can flip it up and you can fold it down. And so say Hannah really liked crafts. She would have used this to lift it up to create extra space.
We have LED lights underneath. Since this is movable, there's a lot of space in the porch, and they said that the houses would come with nothing on the porch. So we were thinking this could be moved into the porch whenever you want to have a drink with a neighbor or anything like that. So we were thinking a yellow light could signify I want you to talk to me, and there's might be other people that want to talk, and they would take the first step.
Great job again. How do you plan on selling this product?
With help from you.
Good answer.
And up next, we have qualifying from Beloit, Wisconsin. It's Classified.
From the case files of It's Classified, Volume 2, Project Clean. Clean stands for Community Lockers Enabling Achievable Neatness. Clean is a spy community locker system that will reside in the kitchen and laundry building that serves as the entrance to HQ. These locker systems will have cleaning supplies that can be checked out using a wristband, keycard, or cellular device. Clean has an application that helps you check available supplies, general cleaning tips, and provide notification reminders to build healthy habits like sabotage. This application's secondary objective is to help community workers by alerting them when consumable items like soap and pepper spray need to be refilled. Once the community members have grown accustomed to using the system, more community supplies can be added that they can access for their next mission, such as art supplies, games, and night vision goggles.
Our primary goal with this is to alleviate some of the clutter in the house, but also to help individuals transition into their new style of living.
And now we have qualifying from Bentonville, Arkansas. We have the Golden Eagles.
As it gets easier to gain items, storage needs are bound to change. And for members of the Community First Village, having beneficial tools for storage is an important foundation. That's why we created DoorStash. The DoorStash system is designed as a buffer between home and the outdoors. This accomplishes 3 things. First, the DoorStash locker system creates over 16 cubic feet of storage space on the porch without taking up any room inside. Second, by having an outdoor storage location, used or bulky items have a secure home outside of the house. And third, based on a mentor feedback, we know many neighbors prefer to get together outside of their homes. Our system creates a space for hosting friends in a comfortable outdoor setting.
The DoorStash locker system is modular. Each component is created independently and bolted together during the final assembly, making the design very versatile. If residents prefer chairs over a bench, it can be removed, or if storage is needed in a communal space, multiple cabinets can be attached. We want to train residents to manufacture the final product themselves.
We're excited to help neighbors step into home and organize with DoorStash.
What I love most about Make48 is that we can grab such a diverse group of teams and surround them with the resources that they need to be able to come up with products like this in just 48 hours. Another thank you to our judges who are about to go on a 1-hour journey to figure out who the winners are. So thank you to our judges for all their support.
I really liked the Golden Eagles door stash. They should win this competition because they solved for a storage issue while also addressing a social issue by bringing people outdoors to interact with one another in an outdoor space around the community.
So I love the door stash. That product actually adds acreage to a tiny house.
I really like the Delta School. I feel like it connected their community needs for socialization as well as maybe some physical needs.
And I love that it doesn't just have 1 or 2 colors. It has multiple colors, so depending on what mood you're in or activity you want to jump into within the village, I think it's a great concept, and I think it can be used outside of a tiny home community.
My favorite would turn out to be it's classified, but it was clever, innovative, and I think it had a depth of training connected with it that these transition folks going from maybe not being in a home to a home, I think is incredibly important.
My favorite was Table Able, really clever design with the hidden stash compartments.
So this is Social Terrain by the Delta School. What do you guys think?
I love it. It's beautiful.
I do too. It definitely brings the community together.
Yeah, and in a way that's not only beautiful, but it's practical for solving a problem.
But then to make sure that it's all working right and maintained and there's not any accidental presses of buttons or incorrect data points there, you really got to make sure that system's operating perfectly at all times. Otherwise, it could really cause some problems in the community. All right, should we check out the next team?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
So this is Community Box Games by the Purple Knights.
That's correct.
I really love how they took an idea and made it just so user-friendly. If anything goes missing, not a big deal at all, just to replace a couple pieces.
I guess that's also one of the downsides. You'd really have to keep an eye on it and make sure that as pieces go missing, make sure you have an extra reserve so you can keep swapping out the missing pieces, but it doesn't look overly complicated to do that.
This is sit and store by den awesome.
I like that they've also created a scaled down model. They realized early in the product development process, you don't need to make this thing full scale to show what it's all about and to bring all the ideas to life. And they did it right here.
Not everybody is a pet owner. That might be a problem.
All right, we are about to announce the winners. One team is going to take home $10,000 and this incredible custom trophy, the moment we've all been waiting for. Can I get a drum roll, please? The winner of $10,000 and our Season 7 Make48 trophy from Bentonville, Arkansas, the Delta School with their innovation around terrain.
Oh, I can't even believe that this is happening right now.
I feel ecstatic. This is one of the greatest moments of my life. I have not stopped shaking. We worked really, really hard on this and lost a lot of sleep, but it was absolutely all worth it.
That's a wrap on Season 7 of Make48. Congratulations to the Delta School on their incredible victory, national champions. Special thank you to everyone that participated and made this possible. All of the maker spaces throughout the year, the tool technicians that helped bring the ideas to life, all of our sponsors, and definitely the teams who put in all the work, time, and energy to create real-life solutions for their communities. We hope that you'll join us next season for Season 8. Remember that everybody can have a big idea, and when you surround yourself with the support of something like Make48, you can bring it to life. So see you next season for Season 8 of Make48.